God of War.
Yeah.
No gameplay demo at the show, which is odd. Maybe they're saving it for PSX before release. Who knows? But you spoke to the director. Is there anything you learned about God of War that especially had an impact on you?
Yeah. I would say a couple big takeaway points from that. One is, one of the things that I was worried about with the game was the idea that, like, it would be carrying so much baggage from the previous games along with it.
Yeah.
So I asked about, like, okay, so, like, everyone at this point knows what happened to Kratos' original family. He has a new family now. Like, how does that fold into it? And what Cory Barlog had said, the director, is that, like, it's a thing that's generally left unsaid in the game. Like, it's not something that they spend time on, but it's something that, as a player, will definitely, like, if you know what's going on there, will definitely color your view of his, like, motivations.
Like a pregnant pause, you know, when he's talking about the power of his child or something.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay.
The other thing, I would say, like, big takeaway from it was the idea that, like, I know coming out of last year, there was speculation, like, oh, it's open world God of War.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and it's not, he explicitly is like, we are not an open world game.
Good.
We're an action adventure game. The word he used to describe it, I actually really liked. He called it not open world, but super wide linear.
That's a Naughty Dog thing. I feel like they're the pioneers of calling with Uncharted 4 it a wide linear experience. I wonder if that's just in the Sony family now.
Yeah, that could be.
That's a good way to put it.
Anyway, so those were, I would say, probably some of the biggest points about it.
Did you leave more optimistic? Anything like that?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we haven't the big unknown about that game right now. I still think is combat, because so much of that series' identity is wrapped up in those, like, whirling chain blades, right?
Yeah.
And, like, those are starting to he doesn't have those anymore.
Yeah.
So there's more to see with that, but we just didn't get to see it at E3
What I really love... Oh, go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say, what about the switch to the Norse mythology? Did you guys touch on that?
Yeah.
Are they going to bother explaining that, or just like...
Yeah. So here, I don't know if it's like, if Kratos did, like, dimension hopping and stuff. They're sort of dodging story specifics of what went on. But the general takeaway, so I asked, like, what happens between God of War 3 and this game? Like, how does he get here? And the idea is that, like, after God of War 3, Kratos is essentially just sort of, like, wanders around for a few years. There's the idea that, like...
Goes snowboarding.
Well, the idea
He's looking desperately for something else to kill. He's run out of anything else.
Well, it's... You joke.
Yeah,
but
I do.
That's not... It's more like he comes to the realization that everything in his life has sort of turned to ash, right? And it sort of becomes a little, like, quiet about that, or somber, or like needs to focus a little bit, rather than just, like, always scream and kill.
That is not this Kratos.
Yeah, it's definitely not. So the idea is that Greece sort of had too much emotional baggage for him, and he just needed to get away from it. So he wanders for a few years, sort of in that, like, trying to maybe escape the person he was, sort of thing. And then there's this fuzzy period of, like, apparently he meets a woman and has a kid and grows a beard, and now he and his son are on some journey of unspecified importance.
Right.
Didn't they say something about, like, there's in the trailer? I didn't rewatch it. There's something like, you need to go meet your mother. Isn't there?
I spoke to someone, I can't remember who it was, but on this game, and he was saying that basically Kratos was worried that his kid was going to grow up to be a bad god or a bad demigod like Kratos is. Mm-hmm. So this is setting him up to be better than he is, basically.
But at the same time, in that trailer, it seemed like he was training him to be a killer, where he's like, he said in the trailer, you have to close your heart to the suffering of the things that you're killing. So it seemed like he's doing the opposite.
Interesting.
Right?
I mean, like, at a certain point, you have to kill a deer to survive, but, like, you need to be able to survive, and it's a harsh world.
Yeah,
but
you got to kill that friendly snake in that trailer. You got to take that MFer down. Ben,
like, we took the same Scandinavian literature class in college.
Before we knew each other, we probably sat right next to each other.
Yeah, we also went to a Metalocalypse, like a Death Clock concert.
Right.
That
we skipped class the same night, Scandinavian mythology, to go to Metalocalypse class. Yeah. It was basically a class in metal, and yet did not ever talk to each other or make each other's lives better.
We had, like, this double helix of our interests, just, like, curving over. But the reason I bring it up is because like, so we studied like Norse mythology for a while. I remember hearing about like a world serpent.
Yeah.
I know the ice giants and stuff, but like when I take my vision of like what I love about Norse mythology and what I know about and I love about God of War, my initial thought when we dreamed about this reality where he'd go invade another pantheon was like Kratos yelling at Odin as Odin's on a mountain, yelling back at him as this larger than life thing. Obviously, there's this thing where like maybe you can't tell that kind of story while trying to also have this grounded kind of emotional weight to it. But like my what I'm driving at is like what as a Norse mythology nerd, like what are you pulling out of these trailers and stuff, and what are you excited about, and what are you seeing that you like?
God, I it was unclear in the trailer if one of the wolves was talking, but I love the idea of like a Fenrir. Yeah, like getting up in there. Also, just I love the
as he's known to do.
Get that Fenrir right
up
there.
in those hands.
You read Sven Skarsgård. He's constantly talking about those wolves getting up in that ass. But anyways, I really love the idea of the wandering and the getting there. Like in the trailer, again, they said there's a line there where it's like, you're a long way from home, man. Like I like the idea of mythology is acknowledging another mythology's existence and being like, yeah, we know you worship those weirdos on the mountains of Mount Olympus over there, but like this is not your territory. And so I love the idea of everything existing in one world. It's very Age of Mythology. Just for another nerdy reference.
You know what would be a really slam dunk crossover if it happened? Like somehow get Kratos into Smite. Just have him, like again, like bull in a china shop, just like whoa,
gotta take out this one with the Donkey Kong skin, all that nonsense that is Smite at this point.
Aside.